reason for anyone from a township to go to a mayor's conference. A mayor's conference is a mayor's conference for mayors.
Appointment, that's what the trustees I talked to are calling this. They say the news took them by surprise, and now they're talking to legal counsel to figure out their next steps.
Is the clock finally running out for Mayor Tiffany Henyard? The embattled mayor of Dolton, Illinois, has been in hot water for a while, but things have gone from bad to worse recently. It seems her days of living like a queen on the taxpayer's dime are numbered. A lot has been said about Henyard's lavish lifestyle, extravagant spending, and questionable leadership, but now the stakes have been raised. Rumor has it that an arrest warrant is being prepared for her. And who can she blame for all of this? Her right-hand man, of course, who has allegedly turned on her in the most spectacular fashion.
No, sir.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
Let's set the scene. Tiffany Henyard, the so-called super mayor of Dolton, a village with just over 20,000 people, has been living large as if she's ruling over a major metropolis. We're talking first-class flights, stays at luxury hotels like the Four Seasons, and dining at high-end restaurants, all paid for with taxpayer money. Just recently, reports have surfaced of a trip to Austin, Texas, that cost a whopping $47,000. And this wasn't an isolated incident. These trips, along with other questionable expenses, have ballooned Dolton's debt to millions. Who does she think she is? A celebrity on a world tour. Meanwhile, the residents of Dolton are left to pick up the pieces of a crumbling local government and skyrocketing debt.
I think you should pay everybody. Is it the reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's for. You just asked me.
But the real drama begins with Henyard's former chief assistant, Keith Freeman. Once her closest confidant, Freeman is now at the center of this unraveling scandal. He was more than just an aide. He was her co-conspirator in siphoning money from the town's budget for their own personal gain. It was Freeman who, alongside Henyard, orchestrated the lease of 3 luxury SUVs costing over $374,000. It was Freeman who managed to get Dolton taxpayers to foot the bill for tens of thousands in lavish expenses. And for a while, it seemed like this dynamic duo had the town under their thumb.
Hey guys, this is Super Mayor Tiffany Henyard, the People's Mayor and People's Supervisor.
However, once the feds got involved, everything changed. Freeman, facing his own set of charges, bankruptcy fraud among others, has turned state's witness, reportedly spilling everything he knows about Henyard's financial dealings. The mayor's house of cards is crumbling, and it's her right-hand man who seems to be pulling the plug. He's been cooperating with federal investigators, and there are whispers that he's handed over some damning evidence. As if that wasn't bad enough, Freeman's betrayal doesn't end there. It's said he's now painting himself as the victim, claiming Henyard was the mastermind who coerced him into these illegal activities. Talk about flipping the script.
One way that the government always does it is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're doing here.
What's particularly juicy here is how Henyard is handling this massive betrayal. She's not going down without a fight. In recent public appearances, she's been on the defensive, trying to cast herself as a naive leader who was misled by those around her. I was manipulated, she claims. I relied on Freeman to guide me on how things were done in Dolton. Really, Tiffany? After 8 years as a trustee, you didn't know how the town's finances were supposed to be managed? That's a hard sell, especially when you consider the timeline of her own political career. Henyard isn't new to this game. She's been playing it for years. So when she says she didn't know what was going on, it sounds like she's just trying to pass the buck. But can she really get away with it this time?
Who would make a one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon? And the main thing is, what is it?
For a moment, it seemed like she might. Henyard's brash style and unyielding defiance have gotten her out of tight spots before. She's known for dismissing accusations and even firing back at her critics in public meetings. Remember when she told a room full of Dolton cops to stop playing these silly games during a power struggle with her police department? This is a woman who's used to having the last word. She's even been vocal about running for another term, as if her current predicament isn't enough drama for one lifetime. But now, with Freeman singing like a canary to the feds, Henyard's prospects are looking bleak.
Several new developments in south suburban Dolton today. First, the state comptroller has suspended some payments to the village because it has failed to follow the law by providing financial reports.
It's not just Freeman who's turning against her. There are rumors swirling that other close associates, those who benefited from her reign, are also beginning to jump ship. Some are reportedly cooperating with the authorities, hoping to cut their own deals in exchange for information. Henyard's once loyal inner circle is crumbling, and the feds are closing in. Insiders suggest that the FBI already has a mountain of evidence against her, enough to bring her down for good. An arrest seems imminent, and if that happens, Dolton might finally get some answers and justice.
invoices, but those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure the right thing is being done.
But how did it come to this? How did Tiffany Henyard, who once seemed poised to be a transformative figure for Dolton, end up in such a dire situation? Let's take a closer look at the rise and fall of Dolton's most infamous mayor. Elected in 2021, Henyard was hailed as a breath of fresh air. The youngest and first female mayor of Dolton, she promised change and progress for the small village, but her tenure has been marked by controversy from the start.
I'm sure you guys had an awesome time on the backs of taxpayers, but what do we gain from any of these trips? We gain nothing.
Almost immediately, her financial decisions raised eyebrows. Lavish spending on out-of-town trips was one thing, but the lack of transparency was quite another. Reports of missing financial records, suspicious transactions, and outright refusals to comply with transparency laws started piling up. The village of Dolton wasn't just being poorly managed, it was being run into the ground. Trustees like Tammy Brown repeatedly raised concerns, but their voices were drowned out by Henyard's iron-fisted control. She wasn't just a mayor, she was the queen of Dolton, and anyone who dared to cross her was swiftly dealt with.
Well, Mr. Lacey is absolutely not guilty of all 9 counts. I believe he's cooperating. And if you cooperate, you have to admit your guilt first.
Henyard didn't just misuse taxpayer money. She wielded the police department like her own personal army. There were numerous reports of her using the police to intimidate her critics and opponents. Under her rule, police costs jumped by 21, with some officers receiving more in overtime pay than their actual salaries. And why not? The police, after all, were her enforcers. It wasn't long before she earned the nickname Dolton's Dictator, a title she seemed to embrace, rather than shy away from. It's said that she once employed a DJ to demand respect from her constituents at a town meeting, blaring, "Rihanna's better have my money." Talk about nerve.
I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate, right?
And it didn't stop there. Henyard allegedly tried to launder stolen money through her own charitable organization, Tiffany Henyard Cares. This so-called charity, which supposedly helps cancer patients, came under fire for failing to file required financial disclosures. The Illinois Attorney General even threatened legal action against it. Yet, this didn't stop Henyard from funneling thousands of dollars into it using public funds. What's worse, she used township employees and resources to support the charity. And let's not forget the bizarre episode where she proposed a law that would slash the township supervisor's salary by 90 if she lost her next election, a move many saw as a blatant attempt to rig the game in her favor.
Pass.
Coming in, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, just...
As more of Henyard's antics came to light, the village's financial health continued to deteriorate. What was once a multi-million-dollar surplus turned into a staggering deficit under her watch. Dolton's general fund balance, once comfortably in the black, now stands at a deficit of $3.65 million, thanks largely to Henyard's reckless spending. Residents are furious, and rightfully so. They're demanding answers, and it seems they might finally get them as the feds close in on their embattled leader.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime, and instead we have several officers that are riding around protecting the mayor.
If the rumors are true, the evidence against Henyard is damning. It's not just about a few bad decisions or ethical lapses. It's about a systemic abuse of power and a complete disregard for the rule of law. Henyard's attempts to cast herself as a victim fall flat when faced with the mountain of evidence against her. From lavish trips to blatant misuse of funds to turning the police into her private security force and trying to launder money through her charity, the list of alleged misdeeds goes on and on.
Is there a motion to terminate Keith Freeman?
So, what's next for Tiffany Henyard? If Freeman's testimony is anything to go by, she might soon be facing the music in a very real way. Her once loyal allies are jumping ship, the feds are on her tail, and the public is out for blood. It's a dramatic fall from grace for a woman who once billed herself as the savior of Dolton. And as the walls close in, it's clear that Henyard's days of flaunting her impunity might be coming to an end. But in the world of politics, especially in Dolton, anything can happen. Will she somehow manage to pull off another Houdini act and escape unscathed? Or is this truly the beginning of the end for America's worst mayor? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, this saga is far from over. Fans have not held back their opinions on Tiffany Henyard's ongoing saga, and the consensus seems pretty clear. Her days are numbered. One comment sums it up perfectly. She is going down. This defense is too flimsy and she has done too much. It's not just about the flimsy defense, but the sheer amount of scandals piling up. People are tired of her excuses and blame-shifting tactics. Another fan doesn't mince words either, saying, the average person would realize it's over when they are arrested. It won't click with Henyard until she actually goes to prison. Unethical means nothing to this person. Her game is to skew everything. This comment captures the frustration many feel about Henyard's apparent lack of accountability, and the way she seems to manipulate the narrative at every turn. What do you think, folks? Will Tiffany Henyard finally face justice, or is she clever enough to wriggle out of this one too? Could Freeman's testimony be the key that brings her down, or will she find a way to blame it all on someone else yet again? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.